Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 19th November 2016. The first article is related to the Dalit assertion. Now, the past, the Dalit movements are centered around paternalism, reservations, affirmative action, etc. But today the Dalit movement is changing. And if you consider the Dalit atrocities, you have certain underlying points to the same. The major atrocity is due to unequal access to the opportunities. And the second thing is, there is a mental enslavement of the Dalits to the institutions and also the social structures. If you talk about the rural India, the economic enslavement is also a reason for the mental enslavement of the Dalits. It means Dalit is being made to believe that he has to subserve the interests of the upper caste. And added to that, the failure of the land reforms, it has made Dalits to be economically dependent on the upper caste for their daily livelihood. So correction of this material benefits, or giving more material benefits to the Dalits is necessary for them to give voice and choice over their own lives. And coming to denial of access to equal opportunities. Here we need to study about the institutions. The major criticism about the institutions is this. The institutions are being filled with upper caste or else upper caste ideology. And if you observe the political institutions, Hindu policy research clearly states that all the political parties at the highest level, barring few, are occupied by the upper caste Hindu male. Because of this, there is enslavement of the political institutions by the Brahminical system. So that is going against to the interests of the Dalits. So the social structure, economic structure and political institutions all are a reason towards continuation of the status quoism. In this context, the Dalit movements are taking a new turn. How they are doing that? So in the past, the Dalit movements have been criticized that they are more centered around appeasement rather than the so-called self-identity. And today, the Dalit movement is more assertive, centered around Swabhiman and Atmabhiman. And second is, there was no synchronization between the movements of various marginalized sections. Dalits, minorities, Adivasis, they fought in their own silos. Now all of them are coming together to provide for a strong fight against this particular violence or else so-called degrading status of their lives. And another thing is, using the social media and growth of the Dalit intellectuality is increasing. It can be seen as increasing number of volumes of the books which are being written on the atrocities against the Dalits. And also, Dalits, Muslims and the Adivasis and everyone are coming close together. So a cooperation among the marginalized is increasing these days. These are the remarkable changes which are coming up with regard to the Dalit movement. Again, the leftists and the Dalits and the rightists, they have different perspectives of reorganizing the society. In this context, as the right-wing politics are growing in India, the atrocities against the Dalits and Muslims are also increasing. In this has provided for an impetus for bringing them together. And the second thing is, leftists, they do not see caste as a dividing factor among the working class. But however, Ambedkarites, they clearly see the self-identity, self-respect has to drive the Dalit movements. In this context, the Ambedkarite version of the Dalit movements and Dalit identity is gaining the significance these days, according to this article. And coming to saying no to the Jallikattu again. Jallikattu is a bull taming sport which is very popular in Tamil Nadu. In this Jallikattu sport, there is a lot of harm which has been caused to the bull and violative of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1916. In this context, the Supreme Court has declared it as is violative of this particular law and banned the same. So in this case, to overcome this in 2009, the Tamil Nadu government passed a law regulating the Jallikattu and minimizing the cruelty to animals. But in spite of this, the Supreme Court has clearly stated that there is an element of cruelty to the animal caused due to entertainment the person or human being is seeking for. So, finally, the Supreme Court has continued the ban. Here, the Tamil Nadu government's argument is this: it's a cultural and religious practice, and so it has to be protected under the freedom of religion, which is enshrined in the Constitution. And the Supreme Court did not buy this argument. Next one is justice beyond borders. Now here we need to study something about International Criminal Court. It was established through the Rome Statute and it was there in The Hague. Here the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice, these are two things. Both are located in The Hague, but their rules and but their charter, everything are different from each other. Now, India is not a part of ICC, and US though signed the treaty, but it did not become the part of this. Though the Clinton government said it's going to be the part of ICC, the Bush government, which has come into existence at later period, did not join for ICC, and the Congress also did not ratify this particular thing. And in this scenario, Russia, it has said that it is moving out of the ICC. What is the reason Russia is moving out? Because Crimea, a small region which Russia has gotten to under its fold, was declared as an occupation by Russia. What the Russia says is the Crimea majorly consists of the Russian population. A referendum was conducted only after the referendum. The Crimea has come into the fold of Russia. And Russia says that there was no military action in breaking the Crimea and bringing them under the Russian fold. And the second thing is, the same International Criminal Court, it did not raise its voice when US has occupied Iraq or US waged a war against Iraq. So it says that the functioning of ICC is biased and it is pro-Western and pro-American. And added to that, further to this, it is not just Russia, it is also Philippines, which is said that it is going to move out of this very soon. And along with this, we have South Africa. It is says it as undermining or demeaning the African population as a whole. Next, Botswana. All these countries are moving out of ICC. So what I can say here is the legitimacy is an important factor with regard to the functioning of the global institutions. Unbiased, legitimate functioning centered around the justice shall guide them. If the global institutions are being driven by the narrow parochial interests, obviously their legitimacy will be questioned. And these are the articles. Now coming to the Indian Express, the first article is about breaking the nuclear silence. It talks about the no first use policy of Indian nuclear doctrine. You know that the Defense Minister Manohar Parrikar has clearly stated that there has to be an element of surprise and doctrinal surprise with regard to our nuclear doctrine, but that was missing. And to that extent, our deterrence effect is coming down. Here the author argues that there shall be some surprise element. India talks about massive retaliation or massive attack, second strike, when it has been attacked for. Now in this context, when India was attacked, obviously it is going to bring in the loss to its nuclear warheads and the establishment. So the massive retaliation may not be happening in such a scenario. And India talks about credible minimum deterrence. As credible minimum deterrence means, India is going to minimize its nuclear weapons to a small stockpile. But however, when there is a no first use policy, India has to maintain more nuclear weapons to bring in this massive retaliatory attack. So in this, the credible minimum deterrence and no first use policy, they are not in sync with each other according to this author. And so he also recommends that there shall be increased role for the military with regard to the strategic decisions and also the chief of staff. This office need to be created to strengthen the nuclear administration in this country. And Big Bang or Big Third. It is about the demonetization drive. First, we need to understand why the black money is getting accumulated in the country. So, in the last 2 days, we have seen that the black money is getting accumulated due to the process. And unless we tighten this process, remove the weaknesses in this process, demonetization will not help. And added to that, the demonetization will reduce the stock of money with the people, but however, the flow of the black money will not be arrested by the demonetization. It means the demonetization has to be followed by few of the steps to bring in the curtailment of the black money. What are these steps? Where the black money is going into, that is elections. The black money is going into land. The black money is going into gold. The black money is also due to the discretion of the public officials and is the reason for corruption. And the generation of this black money is due to the high taxation in India. If you can understand, during the Indira Gandhi era, the total amount of the taxation even reached 97%. So higher the tax, then lower will be the income. It means the governmental income will rise only when the tax rates is optimal. That is what is the Laffer Court talks about. So as the tax rate is high in India, especially with regard to indirect taxes, a spiral of building the black money has been occurring. So we need to cut down the tax rates. We need to curtail the source of rising the black money, and also we have to curtail the discretion of the bureaucrats, and we need to reform the election laws as continuum to the existing demonetization drive. Then only we can see the real benefits of curtailing the black money. Let's come to the editorial page. In Indira's India, now it's the centenary celebrations of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. In this context, let's understand the prime ministerial years of Indira Gandhi. Now, Indira Gandhi's there is a many positives to her. That is, she has brought in the self-confidence and respect to the people of this country who have lost the 1962 war. And India's stature in the international world also has increased after 1971 war. Now, at the same time, Indira Gandhi is known for centralization of Indian politics or development of the personality cult in the Indian politics. The plurality of engagement, it means that involving the multiple people with regard to the decision making exercises in the government is being done away with. And added to that, our prime ministership has been more described as the prime ministerial government rather than the cabinet form of government, because the prime minister is a tall leader and the cabinet people are enjoying their positions at the respect towards the, or else at the discretion of the prime minister. So that developed a personality cult where Mr. Barua described India is Indira, Indira is India. And next is the institutions. These are the worst victims of this personality cult in India. So what do we mean by this? The institutions got enslaved to the politics in those times. The democratic institutions especially committed bureaucracy, loss of judicial independence, and then the federation, the chief ministers, the sealed cover chief ministers has weakened the federal movement. So the institutions and the federal politics are the major victims of this personality cult. And the biggest victim, the Congress party itself. The suspicion and then the network the Congress party has, it got destroyed. Because the Indira Gandhi wanted to fill the Pradesh Congress committees with her own men. The personal loyalty is more valued for rather than the individual capabilities and is connected with the local people. So in this scenario, the Congress deep-rooted networks which are been built over a century, they got slowly withered away. What happened is the Congress is built like this. The village councils are there, then district committees are being built based on this Pradesh Congress committee, then AICC. So it means from grassroots to the topmost level, a systematic organization build-up was existing in Congress. And people such as Kamraj, Nehru, these are responsible for the same. Now, there is a loyal person is dumped onto the PCC and these are being slowly withered away. And the personalized style of politics also entered in India. And then, did it die with the Congress? This personality cult die with the Congress? And more ramifications of this Congress have come up. And all these offshoots of the Congress, they also have this personality cults. So that's why the alternative inclusive politics have died because of the centralist and supremacy approach of Indira Gandhi. That's what this article talks about. And it is hurting the India in the long run. Ear to the field. Now, the worst affected people because of the demonetization drive is the farmers. As the supply chains have been killed, the logistical challenges are existing. As there is no money available for the transactions, the worst affected are the poor and then the farmers. In this context, providing for the liquidity as soon as possible for the farmers will improve their livelihoods. And on his watch, so this is about Human Rights Commission. NHRC has given notices for the IGP of the Bastar region to appear before them. It is majorly with regard to the arrest of various sympathizers of the Maoists, or we can say intellectuals who are doing the work in the Bastar on the police atrocities. So these are the articles for today about the Hindu front page. Now, collegium. Let's see how the collegium functions. The collegium will recommend the Chief Justice of High Court and other judges of the High Court and Supreme Court judges to the government. And government can accept them and can refer them back to the collegium. If the collegium says that they need to be reinstated, government has no other option but to reinstate those judges. Similarly, the government has sent around 77 members to the collegium. Collegium sent 77 members to the government, and among the 77 members, 43 were being rejected or sent back by the government. Now, the Supreme Court and collegium has clearly stated that these people need to be reinstated. It means the options before the government are closed now. Again, this executive judiciary conflict shall be minimized in India, and the institutions shall not conflict, and they have to find an answer through the consensus. So, this is what is my opinion about the issue. And thank you very much and all the best.